in that sense, it's a little bit more complicated than a calculator, but it is a calculator. You have a calculator, use it. Yes, I can multiply, I can square numbers that end up in 6, for example. For example, square of 36 would be 1236 plus 40, 1276. I have a rule for that. It's 3 times 4, 12 added 36, and oh no, you add 62. 20 times 3. So it would be 12 minus 6. If you're doing 4s, you deduct 60 from that, so it would be 12, 16 minus 6. Just because I can do that doesn't mean I'm any better than any of them. It just means I know shortcut, right? Because, Lincoln could have been a classmate of mine, not Abraham, some other Lincoln. I had to learn these things. We didn't have calculators. I wasn't allowed to use a calculator until junior year in college. I took a math stats class that we could not use calculators in an exam, which was stupid, but that was the rule. They took that too seriously. I mean, I took 2 semesters of math stats. I was an econ major. Then I came to Boston College to do a PhD in economics. And the first semester, I had to take math stats. I told them, I know this, give me something else, econometrics. Even that I had taken, but no, you have to take this. We didn't make that distinction. I go to the class and I look at the syllabus, the textbook is exactly the same. I asked the professor, do you take attendance? He said, no. I said, see you in the exams. I was the unpaid problem session TA for that class in my senior year in college. I had solved every single problem at the back of the chapters. So there was nothing that I could have learned in that class. They don't do it that rigorous anymore. But the way they were thinking, I had a mathematical economics teacher. Our junior year is typically at Northern Law there. You take math, econ, you take econometrics, which is kind of advanced stats for econ, and you take international trade and finance. If you pass those 3 classes with an average of B, you're good. You're very good. If you had an A minus, you're a star. My international trade teacher, she loved me like a son. Okay? And I was the best student in the class by far. I had an 89.7. The next one closest to me was a 75. I got an A minus, not an A. Anyway, and he comes to the class, it's a 3 o'clock in the afternoon class. You can tell that he woke up just an hour ago. He just comes in, scratches his head. There's no syllabus, you don't even dare to ask for that. And he says, okay, what shall we do this semester? He had not thought about it until that point. That's the first day of class. And he says, oh, I remember. 2 years ago, I published a paper in Econometrica, which is the top level journal in mathematical economics. And it was talking about abstract social choice systems, election systems, for example, majority rule, ranking, approval, and we just did that. But of the 60 students, only 5 even understood what sort of neighborhood he was talking about. In the paper, there was one lemma. A lemma is a kind of intermediate result that you use for something else. In the paper, it says, leave the proof to the readers. He gave that lemma. He says, if you prove that until the end of the semester, you have an automatic A. You don't have to do anything else. I proved it one day after the finals, and I was one of the best in that class. But of those 5 people, all of them ended up going and do a PhD in econ. But that was stupid. But that helped us when we got here. I kind of came here and I pretty much dominated the program at Boston College. I had a friend, who's from a pretty good college, and he says, "How do you guys come from this backward country and you're dominating the program?" Of course, that was my really cocky days. I used to say, "I'm not you." What he didn't understand was the tail behavior and the statistical distribution. If you're coming to do a PhD from a country like Turkey, this is not that backwards. You're automatically coming from the tail of the distribution, okay? And you're coming here, you're competing with maybe the 95th percentile. But in Turkey, you're 99.9 percentile. By definition, you're better than anyone. Plus, they kind of killed us in that program, so we were ready. But all of that was unnecessary. That's why when I first started teaching this class, I was pretty much using algebra to solve stuff. Then I saw that you guys didn't have the algebra skill. I'm talking about basic algebra. Just one linear equation and one unknown. It is what it is. As Donald Rumsfeld once said, even though I hate his guts, I'm a bleeding heart liberal. Pinko Khan. Not that there's anything wrong with that. He was right. He said, you go to the war with the army you have instead of the army you'd like to have. Well, these are my students. For good or bad reason, they come with a lot of baggage. So we need to do something about it. Yes.
Yeah, that's really good to say. I know I placed to work as a teacher for a couple of years all over Europe, and really it all boils down to human nature for practice.
Yeah, pretty much. So you work with what you got, okay? So I figured I can use Excel as a calculator. Plus, it adds to your marketability. After my first semester here, first year here, first year I taught an advanced international trade class. They did a lot of Excel stuff over there for risk management and stuff. And I told these students, if you get out of this class with reasonable Excel skills that I teach you, you'll be in the top 95% of your workforce. All right, about 2 years later, I was the sponsor of the Student Finance Association. And they were doing a talk. They invited this guy to give a talk. And he comes. I didn't even know that he was coming. Unbeknownst to me, he comes and he starts to talk. 2 years ago, Esther told me that if I know Excel, I'm going to be in the top 95% of the workforce. And he said, I said to myself, come on, man, this guy is bullshitting. And he says, now I know that you should have said 99. This guy did a simple spreadsheet. He was working for, at that point, Chase Manhattan, which is now JP Morgan Chase. And they ended up using all that sheet in all the Chase branches. And we're talking about 2007 and stuff. Guess what happened in 2008? There was a big financial crash. Guess who didn't get fired? That day. Why? Because it's not a commodity anymore. Okay? It distinguishes. Otherwise, why am I even dealing with that? You know, I'll give you the financial calculator. There are videos on how to use financial calculators. I'll assign it to you. You'll probably learn nothing. But you would be like a monkey punching numbers, okay? And every time numbers change, you're gonna have to redo all those numbers. Who cares? We have our setup. All I need to do is enter my inputs, figure out what I don't know, what my target is. The rest is done by the computer. Again, I could have done the goal sheet part manually, but if I can help you guys eliminate that little step, it'll be fine. And let me use this to actually solve a complicated retirement planning problem. I'm 20. Can save X dollars a month. Earn 8% on my investments while saving for the next 40 years. I already have 25,000 in my account. I want to retire at 60. Get paid $5,000 a month for 25 years. Then exit left. It's $2 million in my account. And can earn 3% during drawdown years. It's common while you're saving, you can invest into riskier assets. For example, 8%, then assuming inflation is zero, or in after inflation terms. 8% historically is what you can earn with investing to overall stock markets, something like S&P 500 or Wilshire 5000, what have you. Or if you want to do ETFs, SPY or VOO,